Welcome to the show. I'm Mike.
Hey, I'm Maggie.
And we are Friends on Fire.
We're on a mission to get friends to talk about money.
All right, Maggie. So we have an episode now, but there are no show notes, and I don't know what the topic is.
Yeah, I thought this would be fun. So I recently wrote a blog post on this topic that I have not published yet, but I'll publish in the next day or two.
Because I read all your blog posts, I for a moment, I thought I was actually going to be prepared for this, but if you haven't published it, I won't know what the topic is.
No, I haven't published it yet. But I think I'm interested to hear your off-the-cuff commentary and kind of what you already know about this topic.
Great.
So I wrote a post on this because I had been thinking about it over the past few months because late last year, I got a letter from one of my credit card companies that was letting me know about some new benefit that offered like cell phone insurance. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that was an offering. And my husband at the time, prior to you reevaluating his cell phone company and bill and everything else, at the time he was paying for cell phone insurance through his carrier. And it was like, I don't know how much, it was a reasonable amount of money every month, like $10 or something. And I was telling him, I'm like, look, all you got to do is change your automatic payment statement to this credit card, and then you'll be covered. And if anything ever happened to your phone, you've got, the same level of insurance that you had through your company. Most of them are all like underwritten by the same insurance companies anyways. And so it got me to thinking, like, what other credit card benefits do I have? And so this episode is really focused on understanding the credit card benefits that you perhaps never knew you had, and which ones make sense and which ones, might be worth kind of reconsidering and thinking through if you actually want to act on them.
Ooh, I know a little bit about this, Maggie.
Yeah. Didn't you used to like blog about this years ago or something?
I did blog about this, but also I worked for an insurance company that provided some of these benefits and understand how some of this works.
Well, that's interesting. I kind of remember you saying that when I was talking about cell phone insurance. So the one thing I'll preface this with is actually two things. I always got a lot of caveats. One is we are not talking about which credit card you should choose, right? Like whether you want miles or points or some cash back. There are a slew of websites that help you with that.
I mean, I could also help you with that.
Mike's brain could also help you with that. Well, maybe that'd be a good episode to do some other time. This really is for the credit cards you already have. What are some of the benefits that you may not realize exist? And you might actually be paying for like upsells and charges on other things because you don't know that your credit card actually covers you for that if the charge is made on that card. And so I think it'll be helpful to kind of walk through some of the ones that I discovered on my 3 credit cards. But my second caveat is we in no way recommend that you get more credit cards, that you put things on credit cards that you can't afford. We don't believe in debt. We don't believe in buying things you can't afford to buy. And we use credit cards to rack up points, miles, cashback, etc. on things that we have to buy anyways. Like I charge my utility bills to a credit card if I can. I put all my gas, groceries, all of that on there. And it's how I earn miles. It's how I fly for free sometimes. It's not about racking up debt.
I would like to contradict one of your points. Signing up for a bunch of credit cards is okay. It doesn't hurt your credit score. And the way you get the most miles and points is by the sign-up bonuses, not by the normal spending.
Yes, I agree. And I was not suggesting it's bad to sign up for credit cards. I was saying don't sign up for a credit card and put things on it that you can't afford to buy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're not suggesting you buy things on credit, right? If you want to sign up for tons of credit cards to get the sign-up bonuses because you're travel hacking or whatever it might be, more power to you. It's a great strategy. It works very well. So this really is more around once you have some credit cards that you use on an active basis, what are some of the benefits? And I think the first thing is just understand the benefits that are available to you. Really like write down and document them somewhere so that you have them handy when you do need to access them and leverage them. Like sometimes there's an 800 number you have to call to make a claim and it's different for each of the benefits. So like get all that information in one place and then use them as it makes sense to. And so I think what would be helpful is I'm just going to kind of like rattle off some of the benefits I learned about that I wasn't aware of, Mike. And I'd love to hear your commentary on if you knew some of these benefits existed, and then also all of the like behind the scenes juice on if they're really legit.
I'd first like to say that this episode, while I enjoy the topic, is my worst nightmare because an unstructured Maggie is just the most...
It's risky.
It's incredibly difficult to deal with you when you just start rambling about stuff. And I feel like this thing is going to be all over the place.
Yeah, I was just trying to think what the top 3 takeaways will be for this episode. And I was like, I have no idea. We'll hopefully come to 3 by the end of this discussion.
All right. Why don't you start with some of your lists and then I will respond? Is that how we're doing this? Is this like a 30-minute Mike's minute on the mic?
Okay. So here are some of the benefits. I'm just going to kind of start rattling them off. So one is global entry or TSA Pre Credit. A lot of credit cards are offering these days, many travel cards, but also other types of credit cards. And I actually paid for a TSA Pre Credit years ago before I realized one of my credit cards had this offering. But they'll pay, up to $100 every 4 years as a reimbursement for the application fee that you pay for either one of those travel programs. Great benefit.
Maggie, are you going to read each benefit and then tell your personal story about each one before I get to respond? Is this how this is going to go?
Yeah. That's what I was going to do.
Okay. Can I make some general comments about credit card benefits? I mean, this is your show.
Do it, Mike. Do it.
But I
No, you go ahead. I mean, it's my show, but you just take over. What do you want to share?
Okay.
Go for it.
With all of these benefits, they work like insurance policies. Even though these benefits are not insurance, you can understand them if you were to listen to our car insurance episode. So insurance costs are calculated by frequency times severity. So the frequency by which they are used and the severity, so the total amount of cost. And the thing that credit cards do very effectively is that they go big with all of these pamphlets and advertisements that says, we're going to give you $100 for TSA Pre. And so the severity is $100, but the frequency of people who actually do it is probably 0.001%. Everybody's like, oh, that's awesome, I'm going to get the card. Yeah. And then they forget about it.
That is a great point, Mike. But unless you were going to add to it more.
No, I mean, yes, I was, but you seemed very excited about it.
I am. Well, what I love about this, that is literally my point, is that these things exist. And one thing that I didn't say is when I went to go research this and check all of my credit cards to see what are all the benefits that are available. On one of them, American Express, shout out to an American Express, it was very easy and clear to find, and they were very well documented, and the terms and conditions were very clear. On Chase, who I have 2 credit cards with, it was impossible to find. It was buried super deep, and I still am not super clear on all the details of it because it's just not anywhere. I'm actually going to call and ask for this guide to benefits that they mentioned you can request. But to your point, Mike, half the time they sell you on it, but then they don't actually want you to take advantage of it. Those are the programs I love the most because I'm getting my deal and I'm getting a benefit out of it. And I'm benefiting by the fact that nobody else is going to do it.
That's right. It can be fairly low cost for a credit card company to provide this benefit because they know that very few people are going to utilize it. So the administrator or insurance provider for that benefit won't charge them a lot of money. The other thing to understand is that it's sort of table stakes now. So TSA Pre for travel cards, purchase protection, extended warranty, everybody does this. And so if your car doesn't have it, then once people start looking at comparison websites or whatever, that card will jump out as being insufficient. So basically everybody has it, nobody utilizes it. And to your point, there's a lot of great stuff that you can go take advantage of.
Okay, so let's jump into a couple others. There's, like you said, there's a baggage delay insurance, which reimburses you, on mine as an example, it reimburses you for essential purchases like toiletries and clothing for any baggage delay over 6 hours by passenger carrier, up to $100 a day for 3 days. I read that and I was like, it might be nice to lose my bags for a couple of days.
Well,
$100 a day, get a couple new outfits, then they'll find my bag, it'd be perfect.
Yes. So just to clarify though, you don't just automatically get $100 if your bag's delayed. You have to go buy something that
I know.
You missed.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, but I'm
gonna get to go buy some free outfits.
Yeah, this is something that I don't think people understand. And all travel insurance is going to be like that with airline delays, baggage delays, you have to then incur a cost, which you are then reimbursed for. If you're just delayed and sitting in the airport, or your bags are just late and you're just at home in your living room, they're not going to pay you anything. But it sounds like a really nice benefit.
Yeah, and it's actually really nice peace of mind too, because there's a lot of times that I don't even like to check bags for this very reason. I'm worried my bags are going to get lost. So there's baggage delay insurance and there's lost luggage reimbursement, which just gives you, if they actually lose your luggage, coverage up to $3,000 per passenger from carry-on or checked bags that are damaged or lost by the carrier, which again, really great benefit if you ever are in an unfortunate situation and need to use it. Another one that I thought was cool, Mike, was a trip cancellation, trip interruption insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super curious if COVID qualifies, but this is worded as like, if your trip is canceled or cut short by sickness, severe weather, and other covered situations, which again, I couldn't find the fine print, but I am very curious if a global pandemic qualifies as a covered situation. You can be reimbursed for up to $5,000 for any prepaid non-refundable travel expenses, which pretty cool, right? Like, think this is a category, and there's a bunch of others that we'll go through in a second. Wherever you booked your trip in the first place, probably tried to upsell you on an insurance package. And they do that on your rental car. They do that on purchase protection on things. And so that's where I think it's really important to understand that your credit cards offer you many of these benefits. So charge these things on the credit cards that offer you those benefits. And then you don't need to even stress about that thing that they're trying to upsell you, where you're like trying to decide, should I pay that extra $30 for insurance or $50 for insurance?
Yeah. So there's 2 points I want to address. The second point you made was very valid, that insurance is a very lucrative business. So every company you buy something from, as it relates to travel, is going to have some little, $15 policy they want you to buy, or $10 a day or whatever. You should just skip all that stuff because it's already on your credit card. Going back to how the trip cancellation works, I did have a travel insurance policy for a summer trip that was canceled, and called them and got a lot of information about this. Pandemics, specifically not covered by any insurance. So if your travel was canceled because of a quote unquote pandemic, different than an outbreak, but if it's a pandemic, definitely not covered. And then you are not covered for fear of getting involved in a pandemic. So if you just get scared about travel, but your travel hasn't been canceled, that does not qualify you as well. But you said it kind of quickly, but the important thing is that you will be reimbursed for non-refundable costs or change costs. If you have to cancel your airfare and then you get a credit back, but it costs you $100 to change it, that $100 would be reimbursed, but not the remainder of it.
Yeah, all of these are going to ask you for a lot of documentation.
Oh, it's a pain.
Yeah. But go through it, because like all insurance things, you got to jump through some hoops to get those claims processed.
Yeah.
So another couple, and we'll kind of group some of these together, extended warranty protection and purchase protection. Again, these are ones that are on almost every credit card, and they offer different levels. And again, these are ones where, you need to read the fine print, but they're often things where different products, and particularly like electronics or higher end products that you're buying, might try to upsell you to purchase these things when you actually already get them covered on your credit card. I think they fall into a lot of the same risks that you've shared here, Mike.
Yeah. Now, specifically, this is one that I don't think is as great of a benefit, especially for people who switch credit cards every year or 2 years or 3 years to do the points, because the extended warranty simply adds additional time onto the manufacturer's warranty. So you buy a TV, the manufacturer's warranty is 2 years. Everything is going to be covered by that manufacturer for 2 years. The credit card then covers year 3
an
or
additional
4.
year.
So you have to buy it on the credit card, and then in year 3, if you still have the credit card and something happens, you would then be covered for that. And I don't keep credit cards long enough to ever have this materialize into an opportunity.
That's funny. I do keep my credit cards for a long time. I'm a little bit more, I'm not quite a credit card hacker or travel hacker on that. And I certainly put everything I can on there to earn points, but I'm not like gaming the system and getting a bunch of like sign up bonuses and stuff. Probably should be. I just don't have time to mess with it.
You just like paying those annual fees every year.
I love it. Love it.
All right. What else, Maggie?
So travel accident insurance is another one. And so this is kind of like life insurance, and if you were to get on an accident, you need to let your family know about this one. But it says eligible to receive it if there's an accidental death or dismemberment of up to $500,000. So it's kind of like an accidental, well, just like it's called accidental insurance policy. And so look, I hope nobody has to deal with this one, but nice to know.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I want to address this one. Let's just move on.
Let's talk about dismemberment. This is probably in the category of ones that rarely ever get actually utilized.
Very low frequency.
Does like a pinky count as dismemberment, you think?
Yeah,
okay, no,
it does.
Probably shouldn't even
no, you
that.
should. I've read these policies before. Yeah, if you go blind in one eye or you get your hand cut off or whatever. I think it does.
Okay, well, like getting your whole hand cut off sounds terrible. I was just thinking like just the tip of your pinky.
I think you would get a small payout.
$500,000. I won't get $500,000 for like cutting off the tip of my pinky. I would never consider doing that, to be clear. I'm just curious.
I think you'd get like $80.
I mean, it could advance my retirement planning though. Okay, this is one that I wouldn't personally use, but like a number of credit cards, Visa, American Express, etc., all offer like some level of a concierge service that help you to book tickets, make dinner reservations, etc. I've never used one of these before. Have you ever used one of these, Mike?
No.
But I guess I could see if I was traveling and, wanted some tips and advice for a certain market and was just kind of bored. I don't know. It even says they might help you find the perfect gift. And so I was thinking someday it'd be fun to just call them up and be like, hey, look, it's Father's Day. You got any ideas? Just see what this quote concierge service is going to provide me.
I think it is definitely worth a try because this type of service, I don't have any experience in my insurance background with this type of program, but what I imagine they do is that they outsource it to a third party, and the credit card would have chosen that third party because of the quality of service they provide customers. So it is probably very good. And if you have the opportunity where it may be useful, you should definitely go check it out. If nothing else, just to satisfy your own curiosity. You know what, Maggie?
Yeah.
If you want to call them later and say, listen, I gave my co-host a really hard time with this episode. I'd love to do something nice for him. What do you recommend? By all means, go for it.
I'll see what they say. This is also one where I'm like 99% sure whatever partnership they have with that third party that's providing these recommendations, they probably have a kickback where, they're getting some sort of a cut of whatever sales may happen through that.
Yeah, maybe.
That retail outlet or whatever it is. Okay, next one this is one that is a good one to know about: car rental loss and damage insurance. So this is another one where your car rental company, every time you book a car rental, they're going to try to upsell you on insurance. And they have the things they do at the counters of car insurance desks are ridiculous. Like those guys, girls, whoever, are trained to they have all these weird and kind of halfway sleazy at times sales tactics where they're just trying to convince you that you definitely need that insurance. And often your own car insurance may provide coverage. Almost every credit card you put it on provides some level of coverage. And so it's worth, again, kind of understanding and reading the fine print. But based on your experience, Mike, like, are these legit and good offerings?
I never get the rental car provided insurance. Ever.
Yeah, neither do I. Yeah.
It's a huge ripoff. And also, going back to our car insurance episode, I am an extremely safe driver, and I haven't gotten in an accident since I was 16. So it is super low risk for me. I have some protection with credit cards and my personal insurance. It's just not something I've ever done.
But the car insurance that they offer through your credit cards, it's legit, right?
Oh yeah, it's legit. I've never had to really research it in depth or do anything.
Use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of these things also provide international car insurance, which is important because international providers have some different policies, and sometimes they will require it by law, and you need to provide proof that your credit card covers it. So in this case, I did have to provide some documentation when I rented a car in France a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's funny. I learned that last summer because we rented a car for 2 weeks in Ireland, and we had declined the insurance online. And then when we got there, we were like, they were really pushing us hard, and they were like, Ireland's like one of the most highest costs of car insurance in the world, and highest rate of wrecks. The roads are really bendy and windy and curvy and a lot of wrecks. And they really kind of scared us into it. And we're like, they weren't requiring it, but they were very heavily counseling that like all the things we thought would cover us would not cover us internationally in Ireland, and that like we needed to go look into it. And yeah, I think they might have been right, because I was like, oh, my car insurance covers it, and they're like, I don't think they cover you out of the country, and I was like, oh, I don't actually know. And it was like 2 a.m, and I was like, I'm not gonna call Allstate and figure out, you know, I was tempted to, but I was like, forget it, I'll just take the car insurance. And then we had no issues the whole trip, and I regretted it when we checked out. It's a nice peace of mind, though. Okay, so the last one is, you know, there's a bunch of services, and I'm not a big fan of these, but I'll just mention them. There are a bunch of services that they will market to you as a benefit of your credit card, but they're just upsells. They're not free. They're charging you, and they're usually a partnership program that your credit card has. And so some examples are a premium rental car protection, which is just like a higher level of rental car protection, credit monitoring, things like that. Again, they're not free benefits like some of the others were. They're not built into your credit card. They're a negotiated rate that your credit card has with a certain partner. And often they're not necessarily that great of a rate. So I would not just suggest you think, oh, this is a great benefit, I should do it. You know, American Express is offering me credit monitoring. This must be a good offering and a great price. I'd still go competitively shop it, because it could be that it's a good price, and then it could be that it's actually not. And 99% of the time, they have a partnership with that company, and they're getting a kickback when you sign up for that through them. And so their benefit is not that they're trying to like give you some amazing discount. Their benefit is that they're making money off of, you know, promoting that partner within their program.
I agree with that.
So yeah, I mean, I think the last point here is
I have some too.
Oh, go.
Do you want to hear mine?
Got? Yeah, I want to hear yours.
So many credit cards will offer some sort of reimbursement on certain types of purchases. So if you have an airline card, you might have a $200 a year reimbursement for incidentals like baggage fees or in-flight purchases. And so chances are you signed up for the card because of some of those benefits, and you would use them. So definitely try to maximize those reimbursements when applicable, because it's a very easy way to pay for the annual fee that you're probably having on the card. And you don't want to go buy something that you otherwise wouldn't. But if you have gotten the card because you participate with that provider, chances are you're going to have an opportunity to use it. That was it. You can keep going.
That's interesting. You teased me like you had like 10 other benefits. That was just that one?
No, it was just the one.
Well, that was a great one. So a great one to end on. I think, you know, the last...
Can we talk about the cell phone insurance?
Yeah.
So I actually filed a claim and got a reimbursement on this.
Recently?
Yes, recently.
What happened?
So I got a notification from the credit card that this benefit was being added. I was like, awesome. So I switched my cell phone bill over to that card. And we have all, like, you won't be shocked to know this, we have all very old iPhones that we bought used off eBay. And my wife's just crapped out one day, stopped working entirely. It was an iPhone 6. And so I filed a claim. They required a estimate of repair. So I went to the Apple store. They said, nothing we can do. You'd have to buy a new one for $300. And they gave me a receipt for it, sent it in, had to trade a couple emails with the provider from the credit card company. And then they gave me a credit on my bill for $300.
Wow. And you didn't even have to pay like a replacement fee or anything. Not a replacement fee, but I was thinking that they might say like, oh, you have to cover the first 100 or something.
Oh, there was a $50 deductible.
Okay. But that's not bad.
No,
I mean,
it's
for
not bad
$300. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. It's funny. That new benefit is what started me on this whole journey of thinking like, what other credit card benefits am I not fully familiar with and not really like thinking? And what is, you know, like a lot of the ones we just talked about are pretty common and on every credit card, but some of them are unique to certain credit cards. Like that cell phone one, not every one of my credit card offers.
Right.
And so you might need to be a little bit thoughtful and just, you know, make a little chart, whatever works for you, of which credit cards offer which benefits. And then, you know, spend 20 minutes one Saturday and like move your bills around and make sure your cell phone bills are on the credit card that offers you cell phone protection. It's just something simple you can do to potentially save yourself, you know, like in Mike's case, hundreds of dollars at some point in the future. And just peace of mind that you don't need to have another insurance option, or that if something happens, you're not, stressed when, your kid drops your phone.
Right.
Or an adult drops your phone. Okay. I think, the last point on here, just to close this up, is I would say, if you can't find the fine print and the kind of details on these benefits, call your credit card company and request their specific guide to benefits, because I did find it very hard, like I said earlier, to actually find the specifics on some of these, like they're hiding them or they've just not done a good job of, making them front and center, with the exception of American Express. And so if you need to spend a little bit of time to kind of dig into the details, it's worth it. And, like a lot of money topics we talk about, it's good to kind of understand the specifics of how things work, whether it's your credit card benefits or, your investments of your 401k. Okay, should we do our top 3 takeaways for this episode?
Sure. I have no idea what they are.
I'm going to just rattle some things off.
All right.
I need a second to think. Okay. I got top 3 takeaways from this episode. Number 1 is really research and understand the benefits that are offered on the credit cards that you already have. Number 2 is write them down and log them somewhere so that you have them. If you use Evernote, create an Evernote file, create a Word doc, whatever works for you. But write them all down somewhere. I mean, when I was on American Express's website, they even had like the phone numbers I needed to call, and it was different for each benefit and each insurance company. Write that down. Get it in one central place so that you have it handy, so that if something does happen to your cell phone, it's just easy for you to go figure out what to do. And then number 3, use these benefits, right? Keep them top of mind. And when you rent a car, remember that you don't need to sign up for the insurance, right? When you have a trip canceled, try to submit a claim for it. If you, lose your luggage or have a baggage delay or something, again, use the benefit. That's what it's there for. And like Mike said, a lot of people don't, and you can benefit from these great offerings that they provide, hoping that you will not take advantage of them.
That was a good list.
Yeah.
Nice work, Maggie.
Thanks.
All right. This was a fun episode.
Yeah. You like these surprise episodes? Should we do more?
No, I don't want to do more of them. They're a little stressful for me.
You don't like being unprepared?
I need structure. That's how I work. And your lack of structure is overwhelming for me. Yes. Good
to know. Should we do a Mike's Minute on the mic, or do you want to finish this lack of structure with like, you haven't asked me a question or something?
Like a Maggie's Minute on the mic?
Yeah, Maggie's Minute-ish on the mic.
Okay, let me think of a question.
It's like a burning question you've always wanted to ask me. On the air, in front of thousands. Okay, maybe hundreds of people.
Maybe tens.
Definitely hundreds.
All right, Maggie. So everybody has broken an electronic device, shattered a vase, crashed their car. What is the most embarrassing thing you've broken or wrecked in your life?
Oh my gosh. I need more than a minute for this story.
You have 1 minute.
So when I was 16 years old, I got to park my car in our single car garage. Both of my parents parked outside, but they let me park in the garage because they wanted me to be as safe of a driver as possible and not have like frost or things on my car that would make it hard for me to see out the window, which was very nice of them, very selfless. But also my dad parked his motorcycle in our garage, and he loved that motorcycle, I think, more than he loved me. And he had this little contraption that was a tennis ball that a lot of people install this where like hit your windshield so you know when to stop. So it was like a tennis ball that would hang from the ceiling. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You better wrap this story up, Maggie.
So you know how far, this is a good story. So you know how far to pull your car up. And it has now been so long that I can't remember if the tennis ball was moved. Sometimes he would like hang it out of the way because he was like doing work in there.
10 seconds.
Or if I was just a little bit out of it. I don't know what, but I came home late one night and I hit his motorcycle. He parked it. It was like a long, skinny single car garage, and it had room for his motorcycle in front of my car. I hit that motorcycle, and Mike, it was like slow motion. It was a huge Honda Goldwing. That thing just like sort of teetered and then just fell over. Like it's heavy. It weighs like a lot, and it just crashed and like crushed the side of it. And it was like, I think thousands of dollars worth of damage to it.
Wow.
And I was so scared. I mean, I remember thinking like, I may not make it. I may not, my dad was very angry, but I mean, very kind in many ways, but he was very not happy with me. And that is the worst thing I've ever damaged, I think. That was the question, right? I've already forgotten the question.
Yeah, that was a good story. It was also 2 minutes, but a good story.
2 minutes isn't bad for me.
Yeah.
2 minutes to me is basically like a minute to you.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Or like 30 seconds to you is 5 minutes to me. Something like that ratio.
Oh, is this like Inception?
Oh my God, this reminds me of the other day at work when I sent it wasn't that long of an email, but it was in response to something, and it was to like my boss and you and some other people. And all you reply, I think I like needed something from you. And Mike's only reply was, what was the acronym? I had to Google it.
TLDR.
TLDR. Too long, didn't read. I didn't know what it stood for. I Googled it and I was like, I was like for like a nanosecond, I was offended. And then I was like, that's an awesome acronym. Totally respect that response. It was a little bit too long of an email, and my emails tend to be too long at work. My boss tells me the same thing. And it was constructive criticism, and I rewrote a shorter version and sent it. You had only replied to me and said TLDR. And so then I replied to all, and I called you out, and I was like, Mike said TLDR, which I now know means too long, didn't read. And I rewrote a shorter version of the email, and I learned a lesson that day.
I'm glad.
Or a new acronym.
Yeah. And your shorter email got a response, right?
It did, yeah.
Okay.
And my boss thought it was funny because I think he likes you better than me. So.
Well, he likes when I make fun of you.
He does, yeah.
All right. This was a fun episode. Let's wrap it up.
Okay. So as always, if you have any questions, comments, etc., you can call us or text us at 404-981-3370. Perhaps you can call us and let us know of a credit card benefit that we didn't cover here today and we were not aware of. Love to hear it.
And please follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You can also find us at friendsonfire.org.
Yeah, and please leave us a review on iTunes. It really helps us to be found by other people when we have positive reviews on iTunes, and it helps other people have better discussions about money, which is our goal and passion.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Maggie.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Have a good night. Bye.
You too. Bye.